after this. All right, Dujuan is for Richards. He's in England, isn't it? He's on a trial, he's on an academy trial with Newcastle United, bro. Big deal. Big deal. First of all, how you feel about this move? And Craig Butler actually pulling something out. You know, a lot of people question that he's full if he can actually get these players' contracts, get them seen. And it's a good move, isn't it?
I don't see what reason anybody would have to doubt Craig Butler about his purse as it relates to getting people into various opportunities. No, whether or not the players get these contracts, whether or not the players get incorporated and integrated into these clubs, solely incumbent on the player, their quality, and the way how they show themselves under given situation and performance. But I can tell you that we've seen him take his boys to Real Sociedad. We've seen them wearing Real Sociedad gear. We've seen them training with Real Sociedad. You know, we've seen him take his boys all over Europe to play against the biggest teams in Europe. And we've seen, you know, Leon Bailey and Kyle Butler sign professional contracts and make actual real money out of football. So we've seen him put them in positions. I don't see any reason why anybody would doubt his ability to get them into these places. You know, so at no point in time did I ever doubt Craig Butler's ability to get these players into these places. The only thing, you know, that I would not even doubt, the only thing that I would just have concern about, that, or I would be apprehensive about, is these players' ability to then close the deals or close the opportunities that they get. And I don't think that's on Craig Butler. But as it relates to getting these players, exposing them, and to network, to find good positions for them to lay, I think Craig Butler is one of the best at that in the country for sure.
Yeah, in fact, I think he's probably the best. You know, like putting the opportunity in front of them, as I said, them taking opportunities up, and that's on them. But putting them there in the position, man, we have to give him some props. And like him or hate him, man, the guy does his job well. You know, he gets them friendlies, he gets scouts in the country to look at them, does his job well. So big up to the Phoenix Academy camp, bro. Let's speak for a second on what does this mean, and if it works, how far can Whisper go? Because we were having this conversation after here, but let's get the people engaged in this one and see what they have to say. If this works, say Whisper get an academic contract from Newcastle. He's a professional footballer, the kid. We know that already. He might go be playing football somewhere in Europe. Whether I work in England or not, once he get an academic contract, I think he's good enough to be a professional footballer once he get this contract. How far then can he go?
First and foremost, let me say this. Regardless of whether or not Dujuan gets this contract, I think he will be a professional footballer. And I think he will ply his trade in Europe. So I don't think being a professional footballer is predicated on him signing this contract. Let me get that out of the way first. But him signing an academy contract in a Premier League team, you know, becoming a Premier League homegrown talent, that would mean so much for his career. That would be absolutely massive for his career. You know, that could differentiate between him playing in, let's say, Belgium and Norway, or him playing in Germany or Spain. I think it's that massive. You know, if he successfully makes his way into this academy and then goes forth and passes out of this academy, becomes a part of the Newcastle senior team, I can easily see him being loaned out to a League One or a League Two team. I can definitely see him showing his prowess in one of those leagues and solidifying his spot in a championship team or in a lower Premier League team. Newcastle at this point in time are a massive team. And if Dujuan Richards manages to break into this Newcastle first team and is playing first team minutes in this Newcastle team, then I can definitively say that Dujuan Richards is that guy to be starting up front for the regular ones. So I'm not saying he will break into this Newcastle first team. But I do believe if he's successful in these academy trials, it will open so many doors for him, and I can definitely see him playing a long career in England for sure.
Also, the kid get this academic contract. Call him the next window, bro. Call him the next window. And many even say it, you know, halfway this time or on the fence. You know, sometimes if he's left out, I would say fine. Now, if he's left out, me I say, what we are doing? Clearly, he's messed up. What are we doing?
Remember my point about Jamar Clark and Connor Clark and those and Scarlett and Lanvasaka, those guys who are actively in senior professional setups and academy professional setups in the top clubs in Europe, which is why I would opt to go with them over Dujuan because they've been proven at the academy level. But if Whisper then makes it into this Newcastle academy, then there's nothing that you can tell me to say Jamar Clark is better than him or Lambasaka is better. If Whisper makes it in this academy right now and starts scoring goals in this academy, then there's nothing you can tell me about any JPL player. There's nothing you can tell me about any other player. Dujuan Richards should get a call up into this squad. 100%.
Yeah. And the thing is, we've seen Jamaicans. Yeah, and the thing is, we've seen Jamaicans move to Europe. We see it at the senior level. But how hard it is to get an academic contract, man, this is a big deal. Even to get a trial and to get a look in is a big deal. Because we were speaking, and the thing is, usually we have players that are good players, but they are not good enough to get an academic contract, in England. Yes, they are 80. Let's say a Tyreek Zimenez, or let's say, those players of that ilk. They are good players. Obviously, clubs are interested in them. But are we going to waste an academic contract on him? He's 17, coming on 18. But is he good enough for us to spend this 10 million thing to get him in? No, he's clearly not. Is he even good enough for us to sign him in our first team? Probably not. But he's just young enough, or almost there, where we can get him in the academy. But not worth it. And this is how hard it is. So it make it even more special that Whisper get this contract, because it's not an easy thing, and we don't see. This is probably a precedent that is being set. I don't think I've seen any Jamaican footballer leave straight out of Jamaica and walk in an English academy if he secures the contract. Can you think of anyone that has done it at this level?
I can't think of anyone that has walked into an academy, but I can think of one that has walked straight into first team football.
First team, yeah, we have footballers that walk into first team football from Jamaica.
Which is more impressive than an academy contract. By way more impressive than
easily.
So I can't say the concept of leaving high school and walking straight into an English setup is unprecedented, but it's very, very rare. And if Dujuan Richards do it, he'd be one of the very, very few to have done it. A handful of players that you can count on your hand. And then, as I said, Ricardo Gardner didn't walk in a Premier League setup. So that's another thing. He was with Bolton in the lower leagues. He saw Bolton up to the Premier League, so on and so forth. So if Dujuan Richards manages to secure this would be a massive deal. Massive deal. Even if he doesn't pass out into Newcastle first team, which I don't think he will. I don't think there's a spot for him in that first team. I don't necessarily think he's that good. But oh my goodness, I would love to be proven wrong. But I definitely do think that he's good enough to play academy football at the English level, and definitely good enough to play. I'd like to see. But based on what I saw of Jamar Clark, and based on what I've seen of Dujuan Richards, is there much of a disparity between what they are and what they can do?
No.
I think they're very similar players and on a very similar level. So if Dujuan Richards can make it into this academy, which I really, really hope he does, it would be a big thing for Jamaica, a big thing for him, a big thing for Craig Butler and his program.
Yeah. A couple of days ago, last week, it came out, the coach of the academy, the under 21, did an interview, and they asked him about Whisper coming in to do the trials, and he said that he has no clue of this. Then, there was a storm in Jamaica. A lot of people saying Whisper is already in England. What is going on? We hear the trials now. The coach saying him no, which trials we are talking about. And this kind of caused a bit of a eruption between the Phoenix camp and the media, untraditional media, that is the YouTubers. Have you seen this stir up?
Me personally, I don't pay much attention to stuff of this nature. I try to keep myself grounded and I try to focus on the football. So the tabloid nature and the paparazzi business is not something that I tend to do. Obviously, my job requires it, and as such, sometimes I have to dabble in it. But I kind of stay far from it. So I'm not abreast on the whole situation. However, what I can tell you is that handling youth is very sensitive, and as such, probably the coach was bounded by labor laws or contractual obligations, so on and so forth, to not necessarily speak on this. until all bases were covered. And I think hindsight, that's clearly what happened. That's why I decided at Sports TV, you don't hearing about this information. We sat back and we waited before we made any comment. Because we know that this is a very sensitive matter. And as I said, Craig Butler has given us no reason to not believe that he has a child with a club if he says he has a child with the club, because we've seen Craig Butler get them into situations before. Craig Butler never said him I could sign a contract with Newcastle. That's not what was said. Him say him earn himself a trial at Newcastle.
In fact, he never even said Newcastle. The initial interview, he was very cryptic. He said he's going to a trial in one of the top 5 clubs in England. That's what he said. But obviously, people piece it together and figure out that it's Newcastle, and they did it denial, and then they did a live exposing that it is Newcastle. Kyle and Whisper, they were at Newcastle. So we figure it out. They get me, but at the same time, they were very careful in their words, and so they didn't want to blow it up to be what it's not. In fact, I saw where Craig Butler said last night that the whole media storm speaking about the Whisper situation before it was done could have lost the kid the opportunity.
Yeah.
He said that. And so that's the unfortunate thing that we have to deal with when we're talking about, footballers under 18 years old. The paperwork that goes into this and the confidentiality that goes into signing a contract like this, the clauses, the guarantees. When you say to a club that, hey, I will not speak about this until we speak about it. I will not, post anything about it until we post something about it. Then you have to be careful.
It can go beyond publication. Like when you're dealing with children, labor laws come into play.
Yeah, legal matter.
Yeah, so even beyond publication, because obviously we know that these clubs are very peculiar with their publications, and they want to publish it first and have the rights to broadcast it first, so on and so forth. Beyond that, when dealing with a kid, when dealing with a child, there are legal aspects of it that have to be considered, and I think this more so than the publication aspect of it might be what was the big inhibiting factor for it being more public than it was. Me hearing all of this, I just waited and I sat and I looked, because, as I said, Mr. Butler never give a reason to doubt that he has the ability to get them high stakes opportunities, because we see time and time again. So I just watched and I waited. And eventually it came to fruition that he is indeed at St. James's Park. He's indeed there in the Newcastle kit doing Newcastle stuff. And I'm just so proud of the kid. I'm so proud of the Phoenix Academy for what they have done. In spite of differences that people might have with the academy, it's all about youth and it's all about Jamaican football at the end of the day. So when good are going, like I said.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Jamaican football, Jamaicans. I can't say you get an opportunity like this and not love it. I'm so proud, bro. When I hear about him getting an opportunity like this, I just want him to take it. One of the proudest moments of me on a weekend is when I'm watching Premier League football and I see that Ethan Pinnock, Bobby Reed, Leon Bailey, Mikel Antonio, and I see that Jamaica flag they come up, bro. When I check the stats, I look and I see Shaman Nicholas scored that day, which I'm going to talk about. I say, all right, they're saying Jamaican forward. And that makes me feel proud. So just a 17-year-old, also from Kingston College, my time, and when I get an opportunity like this, I have to be happy, man. And I hope the kid can take the opportunity, even if this is not the one. At least you know that he's getting the eyes. He was in England before. He was performing. When he was at Brook House, I think it is.
Yeah.
So hopefully, some more doors open up, even if this is not the one, and the kid can take the opportunity. So proud of Dujuan Richards. Must say big shout out to him, Father Oda Richard. He's always there. He's always a man who's in and around it, in and around the kid. So big shout out to him. Big shout out to Kyle Butler, Craig Butler. In fact, we should be getting an update soon, people. Stay tuned for that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what it is. Also, the Phoenix Academy is also in Europe. And we heard about this a couple of weeks ago, and they're there. Again, speaks to Craig Butler being able to put opportunities in front of these kids. This is their yearly tour that they're going to do. So let's see. Hopefully some contracts come out, some more academy interest come in. This is what we want to see, people. So a good amount of players there that can actually pull interest. Speaking about a Daniel Mitchell or a Zane Pinnock or Denzel McKenzie. Good players. Repeat.
Hakeem Bernard.
Good players. So looking out for some more news, but on Whisper is a big deal, and we want to see it. continue this way. Is it? Anything more on this topic, bro, before we switch gears?
They talk about Kyle Butler just confirmed with me that we will be getting the interview very, very soon. You know, people, so stay tuned for that. That is something that would definitely be, and we'll be talking to Kyle Butler about the Sean Richards process. Who knows, he might even get for the kid himself. Apparently, you know, them just come back from training. You know, so Dujuan Richards is working hard in the Newcastle situation, and his handler Kyle Butler is up and down with him as well, just telling us that it was a hectic afternoon / evening, and as such couldn't make it on today's episode of Studio Talks. So he sends his apologies, but will definitely be on the next one. You know, so people continue to look out for that. There's a hope Dujuan Richards continue to do Dujuan Richards stuff, score some goals, work hard, kid. Run, you get me as a track back, tackle, and everything I go how it's supposed to go.
You know what I love about this opportunity? I feel like they're taking it well. You know, they went 1 week earlier than the trial. It started yesterday on Monday. The trial started. They were there 1 week. They're getting acclimatized and training and getting used to the air there, because anybody playing cold air, you know it's not easy at all. You know, so getting used to that atmosphere, getting used to the surface. You know, they're taking the opportunity well, and who knows, maybe Kyle Butler is the new face of Phoenix Academy. You know, is this the passing of the guard? You know, when Leon and Kyle, they were getting their opportunity, it was Craig Butler. He was the Phoenix representative. Now we're seeing Kyle Butler as the Phoenix representative. Is this the passing of the guard, bro? Is this what we want to see? Kyle Butler taking up the mantle?
As I said, 1-2 or not 1-2, I'm relatively indifferent. I just hope that Kyle Butler is as good as getting the kids into positions as his father was. And as long as they help Jamaica football, that's all I care about. Because I can tell you, bro. And are we going to talk about under 17 still? No? Are we?
We can touch on it, but that's for the next show.
Oh, all right, yeah. Because as I said, another Phoenix player absolutely making waves in that team, you know, Jamaican Bell. So as long as Craig Butler is continuing to pump out these boys and they can incorporate themselves in the national program, the best player in the senior team is a Phoenix player. I think the best player in our next under-20 setup will be a Phoenix. Not even I think. I can definitively say that Dujuan Richards will be the standout player in the next under-20 cycle. We can say that definitively, right? That's for certain. He'll be a 19-year-old in that cycle. And he'll be the
I agree with you.
And best player in the under-17 setup. So also a Phoenix player. So that's not a mistake, you know. That's not a coincidence when you think about it. The number 10, Jamaican Bell, I think we spelled already 10 for the under-20s in the next campaign. And, you know, the number 7 in the senior team. They're all Phoenix players. Love it or hate it. You can't deny the facts that are right in front of you. And I think as long as I pump out these players and I provide them for the national program, then can't hate on it.
There we go. People, Studio Talk. Next segment, we'll be speaking some international football, some reggae boys, some reggae girl stuff. Stay tuned.